we're here with James Williams, our new president of U.S. Lubricants. Good morning, James.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well this morning. The weather's cooperating. It looks like it should be a nice warm fall day, I guess.
In Wisconsin.
That's right. That's right.
Right. All right. So James, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us about your background and your work experience.
Yeah, I am just originally I'm from Louisiana. I grew up in Alexandria, Louisiana. I went to college in New Orleans. I've been in the oil and gas business about 20 to 25 years. I've held positions at I've worked at ExxonMobil, I've worked at Shell, and I've worked at BP Castrol. I think some of the things that are notable for the position that I hold is at Shell, I ran our Jiffy Lube business. I ran the Jiffy Lube business there. I also ran an industrial sales team there. I also ran our global marine business there. And at Castrol, I ran both the PCMO business as well as the heavy duty business for half of the U.S. So I've been in lubes from a commercial standpoint pretty much my whole career.
And, James, that was one of the things, obviously, that was so attractive to us when we were interviewing you, is your experience. But also it was your people first attitude, and the way you manage people, and really thought you're going to be a great cultural fit for our company, and that's turning out to be the case. So really excited to have you on board. James, so tell me a little bit about your first impressions of U.S. venture.
The couple of things that just really kind of ring out to me is in this space, in this lubricant space, and kind of involved in that, U.S. Lubricants is really well positioned to make a couple of different moves on the chessboard if it wants to. It's positioned to be sort of like a regional mid-major type player in the lubricant space. We also have lots of capabilities in our commercial businesses and our industrial businesses. We've got a super opportunity to continue working with the Auto Force teams and with the U.S. Oil teams to give the U.S. venture customer a more complete and full offer. That is, to be positioned that way, there are not many companies that actually have the nimbleness to be able to do all of those different things. And I think the other thing that has been super impressive to me, I've worked at 2 Fortune 10 companies, right? Well, I've worked at 3, but in commercial roles, I've worked at 2 big Fortune 10 companies. But the talent of the people that work for me and that are in the division, I believe is right on par with people I've worked with at much bigger and larger and global operations. So one of the things that I didn't know, when you start a job, you don't get a chance to interview the staff. You just get a chance to kind of talk to people. I didn't know whether or not I'd have to come in and would I have the horsepower on my team to be able to truly take the company where I'd like to take it. But resoundingly, yes. I mean, the people here are every bit as good as people I've worked with in other places.
Great to hear. So, James, the world's changing quickly, right? And there's a lot of disruptions coming at us, a lot of changing trends. What do you think are those disruptors or trend changes that U.S. Lubricants needs to be aware of?
I think one of the big things is if you start to segment out the business into passenger car motor oil, as well as kind of commercial and industrial. I mean, I think if you take a look at all 3 of those, they all kind of have different trends that are going on. In the PCMO space, I think there is a huge trend, and I felt this personally as I worked for majors, is that consumers are more and more willing to go for value brands. So as people are tightening their wallets and trying to figure out how do they make dollars stretch, people are less inclined to want to spend additional money on motor oil. So our Thrive brand, I think, is positioned really well to be an alternative to that. It is manufactured and has the same ingredients as some of those bigger names that have billions of dollars in marketing advertising space. And I think we can put together really good programs to help the installers be able to do that. So that's a trend that I think is moving in our favor. I think the other trend is on our industrial business. The big majors have moved away from providing a lot of service in that space. So they may sell the products into the manufacturing spaces, but with globalization and with cost pressures, they're not able to support those businesses in a way that they used to. I think we have a huge ability with our lab and with our technical people to be able to offer not just products, but products plus services, and really fill a niche and help people grow and reduce their total cost of ownership on the industrial side. So those two trends, I think, are working in our direction. I think as we lean more into them and begin to derive more value and be a little bit more intentional in how we play into those, I think that's going to help us a lot.
Yeah, and it's always been a long time goal of ours to build out our Thrive brand. So it's nice to hear that the market is moving in a direction that actually could facilitate that. What do you think, James, is our biggest challenge going forward?
Quite frankly, I think in my little bit of time here, I would say the biggest challenge for this division and for myself is sometimes when you're gifted with lots of moves you can make on the board, you can also not be focused and intentional about the 3 or 4 things that you have, what I like to call a true strategic right to win in the marketplace. So we could do a lot of stuff. So we could do probably 10 or 12, the 10 or 12 paths we could go down, but it's really narrowing that down to the 3 that we believe that we want to invest our time, our treasure, and everything that we have. And we want to really figure out how to extract the most value in those 3 and not kind of lose sight of those 3 doing other things, because we have so many different options because of the way the company is structured. We can do a lot of things, right? So we can manufacture our own products. We could be a distributor and work with major brands. There are lots of things we can do. I think what I really see is the impending danger is you don't really decide. What I like to say is who you want to be when you grow up. Once you decide that, that's your strategy. And now the tactics that you take need to kind of take you in that direction, unless you decide that that's not who you want to be and you want to do something else. So I think really just scope creep and making sure that we stay focused on kind of our core principles and we don't just accidentally chase things that aren't exactly what we want to do.
Yeah. So, and I know it's early, James, and you've got a lot of moving pieces on that, but do you have a vision for U.S. lubricants in the future that you can articulate now?
I can. I think the 2 things that I've seen it's been a month, so I don't want to sound like I have all the answers, but in a month I see two things that we do that I'm not quite sure really match together. One is we operate like a company like Castrol would operate. So we have our own products, we have our own brands, and we're trying to solve customer problems by having the right products. And we want to set a team that can build customers. So that's one thing that we sort of do. We also have another side of the business where we are what I would call a distributor, which means we have relationships with bigger brands and we distribute product on their behalf. So we do both of those. My long-term vision, and this isn't short-term, but long-term vision is I think we become more like the Castrol. We become more like we control our destiny a bit more, because now all of a sudden we get to decide what places we want to play, what products we want to have, what technology we want to lead in. We get to do that. And I think as we start to really grow, we'll begin to do that. We'll do a little bit less of maybe being a distributor, because I think there are lots of people that have similar skills in the distributorship space, but there are not a lot of people that can do what we can do with our manufacturing base, with our facilities, with our technology, and with our people and with our labs. There are not a lot of people that can match that. And quite frankly, there are not a lot of people that have captive customers like our partners in U.S. Auto Force and U.S. Oil. There are not a lot of people that can do that. So I'd like to lean more into where I think it's harder for us to lose because people just can't replicate what we do, as opposed to places where other people can do something similar and we have less control over our destiny.
Well, James, we're looking forward to having you lead us on that journey. And so thanks for being with us here today. And I want to express my gratitude for you for taking the job and joining our team. And we're super excited to have you on board. So thank you.
All right, John, thank you so much.